Welcome to Bachelorette,
a podcast so educational it could be a university class.
With your hosts,
Danielle Dick McHugh,
Kim Hannah,
and Bill Henninger. Welcome everybody to this week's episode of Bachelorette. This week we have Kimbo Hanimal and Bill. Danielle is off. Next week it'll be Kim and Danielle Animal.
And it will be incredible.
It will. I don't know why I've insisted on putting animal at the end of both of your names today.
Incroyable.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll go to Paris next week.
Oh, I don't think we have the budget to send you and Danielle to Paris, but I would do it if we had the budget.
Let's find the budget.
Right?
I want to go to. Hey, Danielle's been to Paris. Well, we both been to Paris, but Danielle's like good at Paris, so I would go to Paris with her.
Yeah, she knows what she's doing.
She knows what she's doing there.
Yeah.
And then we could go to London, and I know what I'm doing there, and we could have.
That's right, because you lived in
Tale of Two Cities situation, Bachelorette
Wales,
style.
Right?
Yes.
And then you're going back to Wales.
Yes, in February.
That's exciting.
February.
Is Wales super nice in February?
I mean, yeah.
Okay.
It's nicer than here.
I've actually been to Wales in February for like 48 hours for an ultimate frisbee tournament when I played for the Irish national team. And I remember it being quite pleasant.
It's pretty nice. I mean, it's way better than here in February. So that in itself is a win.
Well, yeah, because it's not negative 30 out.
Correct. And you can be in the water.
Yes, that's true. I remember it rained a decent amount, kind of like Ireland.
It does that. It does. Yeah.
I do enjoy the rain. So.
Yeah. Better than I just want to point out that it's 98 bazillion degrees out today. So, of course, I'm drinking a nice dark Merlot, the summer drink of champions.
It never goes out of style.
Never does. Never does.
All right. Well, that's been a lot of great witty banter from the two of us.
We're getting back into it. We're rusty.
Yep. Well, that's fine. We're gonna hit our stride halfway through here. All right. So I have the question for the day that I thought up out of my own brain. Do you feel older or younger than your age? I feel like there's a lot of talk about, especially with Gabby, and I'm forgetting the guy that's got the dreads.
Nate.
There was a lot of talk about age with those two and how old he was, and yeah. I honestly think it absolutely depends on the day and what I did the day before. I get that. Yeah.
Because I am 40.
Okay.
Hello. And I still get ID'd every time I go to buy any sort of alcohol, which is I've been told I'm supposed to be flattered by that. I find it annoying. So when I'm with my friends and we're out doing fun things, then I feel under 40.
Okay.
And when I've played softball in 98-degree weather with 100% humidity, the next day I feel older than 40.
Okay.
That's my scientific answer.
No, that's good. I like it. I think I'm with you. There are days, generally it's like whatever airs me on the wrong side or like the imposter side. It's like the days at work where they need me to do something and I'm like, I really need an adult right now. There's somebody who should be 40 years old that should be making this decision, not me. But then like this morning I woke up and I felt every bit of 40 plus like 10 more years as I like limped upstairs to go play basketball. So.
Yep. But I also felt that way at like 20. Sometimes I felt 20 and sometimes I felt 60.
Do you ever feel your age? Like, is there ever a time where you're like, I feel exactly 40 today?
When I wake up and like a body part hurts.
Yeah.
By me doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Then I feel 40. When I hear the young folk talk about something like, whenever anyone talks about anything TikTok related, I feel 40. Because I don't care about TikTok. I want nothing to do with TikTok.
Yeah. I don't really get TikTok. I periodically download it and I have it for about a week, and then I'm like, I don't understand. I get why people spend a lot of time on it because it's that like immediate gratification. You swipe up, swipe up, swipe up, and you get something new every time. So I understand the addiction to it. I don't understand the like everyone's doing this really dumb dance and let's do it, which is makes me feel 40.
Yep.
But then there's a lot of 40-year-olds on there doing the dance, and I'm like,
I'm sure there is.
Hath you no respect? Hath you no respect for yourself?
I don't think so. I think they don't. I think they want to be hip with the kiddos.
Well, it's a good way to get attention.
Yeah, I dance every day. I don't need to dance on TikTok.
You don't want to do like it's really just like the Macarena, like for the internet age, right? Everyone does these dances that then like a week later, it's like, oh, these are really dumb.
I have a very vivid memory of doing the dance to Gangnam Style at an Iowa State tailgate less than 10 years ago, and I knew the entire choreography and the lyrics.
Yeah.
But there's no video evidence.
There you go.
So did I? Yes, I did. But now I can run for office still.
I just really felt my age when I said it's like the Macarena.
Yeah.
Felt very 40-year-old right there.
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready to discuss some Bachelorette?
Yes.
All right. 2-minute recap. I'm going to blow this out of the water. Here we go. You zoom in. It's raining. Rachel and Gabby don't know what to do with the guys. And they're sitting under a blanket. They're sipping hot cocoa or something like that. So they decide, what are we going to do? Let's put him in Speedos and make him do a talent show. Had they been a bachelor and had he done this to women, I would be really offended. But there's some part of me that really finds it funny when the women make the men do this. I don't know why.
The amount of black squares.
See, I don't get the black square.
Why didn't they have Speedos that fit them?
Yeah, I don't. I feel like it was just overcorrection on their part, on the producer's part. So anyways, they go through, they have abs, they do different kind of dumb talents. Nothing really sticks out, except for the guy that poured marinara sauce on him, on himself. They seem gross out. I love marinara sauce. I mix it with ranch. I call it ranch marinara. Oh, so good. Anyone stick out to you? At least it's not ranch. I do like ranch in French too. I call that French. Yeah.
No. My favorite was the guy who talked them through a mortgage. It was
the guy that they were calling him like Tarzan or Fabio. I did appreciate how he spun the chair around AC Slater style, like with the glasses on. So then some of the guys get to come with them back to their house after the pageant. Let's see. I'm trying to see what the guy's name is. Jason tells Rachel that he's more interested in Gabby, which we're going to talk about. I felt like that was the big takeaway. Basically, they all talk. 2 guys get roses. I don't remember who they are. Do you remember? Let's see. Logan gets Rachel's rose. Johnny gets Gabby's rose. Then it's time for a one-on-one date. The first one goes to John V, and he'll be going with Nicole or Rachel. If you didn't notice last week, somehow Danielle and I decided that Rachel's name was Nicole for the whole episode.
I think we should call Rachel a different name every week, because I don't think Rachel should be on this season. I think this should be Gabby's season. And so my form of protest is maybe we call Rachel a different name every week.
Yeah, I don't feel really bad about it, but what are you going to do? So then Rachel, Nicole, Shanae, whatever her name is, goes on a plane.
Don't say Shanae, you might bring her back.
They go on one of those zero gravity planes, which I think looks awesome.
I do too.
Yeah, I would totally do that. They go to dinner, and basically she's like, it's not that great. Little concerned that Nicole, Rachel, Shelly, whatever her name is getting rid of guys that actually like her. maybe she should think about like putting some guys in there that at least be interested. At the mansion, that Chris guy decides to say something about how he would never be with one of the Bachelorettes if she slept with another guy. More on this later. The guys are not real happy about it. And then Nate decides to Nate gets to go on the other one-on-one date. Gabby is amazed with him. He's a girl dad. More on that later. And then they kiss. They went into a hot tub. They didn't really have that interesting of a date. No, it wasn't like
the helicopter by the Hollywood sign was neat.
There you go. And then the hot tub. Then it's time for the cocktail party. Basically, they confront that Chris guy. And they kick him out. He comes back. He tries to like come back in, which I thought was the best part of the episode, where then he was going to call this tribunal of the men who wronged him. And he was like midway through trying to be all studly. And then Gabby and Andrea were like, you got to get out of here. And then he just kind of slunk off. My favorite part was when he tried to let Gabby and Nicole walk him out. And Gabby turned and is like, you can lead us out. Thank you. And then he came outside and he's like, what do I do now? And they're like, you just keep walking.
You just stand there like an idiot until the truck gets here and takes you away.
Yep. You just keep walking. The guys felt great. Rose ceremony. And we're done. Whew. Anything to add?
Was it the meatball guy who had them eating the spaghetti and they started eating like Lady and the Tramp and he did the, ooh, they're going to kiss. And it was just like, really? That's my only addition to that.
There's a whole lot of like very, like, I don't even know how I want to say this, but cringe-worthy like stereotype, because Nicole, Rachel, whatever her name is like, if he feeds us, he's all the way through. It's like, feed your woman. And then girls are like, oh, he's feeding us. And then the almost kid. Yeah. So,
yep.
He's a meme. And he'll be gone. So
he will be.
Excellent
recap. 2 thumbs up.
Thank you. I try to fly through them. So first concept, I don't know why my computer, the stuff is talk about feeling your age. I'm like, this computer's so small.
Oh my goodness.
I need my cheaters.
Do you need your glasses?
I need my cheaters. So Chris made a bold statement that he would not be with a bachelorette that banged, my words, not his, multiple times in the fantasy suite. Got a couple questions. Is it too early to think about this? Because that was what Gabby and Rachel, when they confronted him, they're like, why are you even thinking about this right now?
I don't think it's too early in that I think most people, I know most women, make a decision in probably the first 5 minutes of a first date where they're comfortable going with the person that they're across the table with.
Really?
So in that, I don't think I'm the only one. So in that case, I don't think it's too early. Also, they know that the fantasy suites are at the end of their time on the show. It's not a surprise.
True. Yep.
I think he is that person, I don't like his personality. And so I think him just assuming that he'll be there and he'll be the one to make the decision is annoying because it's not his season of The Bachelor. And I'm fascinated to find out how they do the fantasy suites this season because it's already awkward when they have the 3 guys and the girl or the 3 girls and the guy all staying at the same hotel. So they have to see each other. If there are like 6 guys at the end and the 2 of them, that's weird. If there are 3 guys at the end and they're both sleeping with both, that's weird. I don't know. I don't know how to prepare for what the fantasy suites could look like this season.
I feel like that's the producer's like dream scenario. 2 bachelorettes, 3 men, and like how does this all pan out? So I do think it is interesting. So Gabby and Rachel, I think what they were trying to say is, why are you making these decisions already? They obviously felt very burnt by Clayton. Yeah. I did feel a little bit like he does have agency. He gets to decide.
Mhm.
And he can make that statement. And I think that's a fair statement. And then they have the right to kick him out. So I don't, to let him go. So I don't think it's bad. They seemed very mad that he made that statement. I think the bigger thing, and they alluded to this, was the conversation they had with him. He very clearly was trying to take control. And like you could tell, and he even said, I view myself as an alpha male. I'm like the ultimate alpha male. And I think that's one of the dumbest terms that anyone can ever utter, is I'm an alpha male.
Yep.
I feel like anyone who says that they're an alpha male is actually very concerned about how they're viewed. It's like their way of saying, like, you can't think I'm less than a man because I'm going to tell you that I'm the alpha.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that I also wondered, like, he never said, well, what if both of the women wanted to sleep with me?
Right.
Like, he was never like, well, I would shut that down. And I wish somebody would have asked him that. That's all I have. That was my very prophetic, thoughtful statement on that. I'm glad he went. I just think it's interesting that came up so quickly when every other season it's been like buried until the end. And I'm sure some of that's a producer thing, but I wonder if a lot of it's because there's two people.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I just didn't like his personality. So we don't need that. We don't need that for Gabby.
Yeah, he needed to go. That's for darn sure. So any parting thoughts for him?
Was he a life coach? Is that his job? I feel like every time they bring like a life coach or a motivational speaker on, they are the worst kinds of people.
Yeah, he gave off hardcore life coach vibes, didn't he?
He sure did.
I'm looking it up right now. That's like the first thing when you search his name. What does he do? Let's see. The Bachelorette, Chris A, Instagram, job, everything you need to know about him. Instagram, height, job. In case you haven't connected the dots yet, Chris Austin is a motivational speaker. God, you were the best addition to our crew, Kim. You remember all of this stuff where I am just like, I didn't like him. Yeah.
It's a trap.
Yeah.
Steel trap. There's a lot of stuff going on in here. Some of it's good, some of it's bad.
It's quite amazing what you remember. Yeah. He gave off big time motivational speakers as a profession have not really done much for themselves on this show. There has just been a lot of like, really? This is the person you're putting forward. So.
Yeah. How is this selling your brand? Because I feel like they come on to sell their brand so that they can continue to be motivational speakers.
Yes.
And they are all so disgusting. Yep. Their personalities are so disgusting on the show that's like, this would not motivate me to want to have you come and speak to my employees.
Yes. And also, so I come at the dating and relationship stuff just because it's like a science to me, and I study it. That's where I come from. It's like, that would be a very hard job to be married to the person, because there can't be that many motivational speakers out there that make bank, right?
Right.
Second, I imagine you got to travel. So you're essentially married to a traveling salesman, which would be great in the first couple years of your marriage or however long. If you decide to have kids, like they're just going to be gone all the time.
Yep.
And then aside from that, the fact that I think their whole job is to be in front of people and tell them what to do. So.
And then they come home and they want to continue doing that. And you go, shut it down.
Yeah. Like, how mad would you be if you had a bad day?
Thank you.
And you came home and said something to your spouse and they're like, listen, you just got to pull yourself together. And you'd be like, for those of you that are listening, I just flipped the camera off, because that's what I would do to my significant other if they pulled that on me. I was like, I just want you to tell me today sucked.
Yep.
Yeah.
I need you to listen. I need you to agree. I don't need you to say anything.
Order me a Papa Murphy's pizza.
Bring me a bottle of wine. Rub my feet. We're putting in Pride and Prejudice. That is how we're handling my crappy day.
Well, that's where you and I divulge. I'm putting on The Office, but
you're not a fan of the Keira Knightley, Matthew McFadden version of Pride and Prejudice?
No, Little Women, Pride and Prejudice.
Ah!
Yeah.
Little Women is a good one too. Circle of Friends. Men are from Mars and women are from Venus.
All right, concept 2. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. In case no one has noticed up to this point, there are 2 bachelorettes. If you haven't noticed, we're going to say it, we're going to speak it into so everyone knows we're all on the same page. And this is creating an existential crisis for everybody.
Oh, man.
Everybody seems to be just totally unmoored on how to deal with this. So some guys are starting to declare their interest for the bachelorettes. Some guys are being cagey. So initial thoughts on this, just stream of consciousness.
Well, I kind of already spoke on the fact that I think it's ridiculous that there are 2. I think it should be Gabby. Gabby has the best personality. She's most fun. She has the best facial expressions. She has the best comments. She definitely says what she's thinking. And I'm obsessed with whatever that sweater halter big tie thing she was wearing in one of the scenes Tuesday night was. I want it. I would not look the same in it, but I want it. And I think that I understand that the guys were cast before it was maybe not all of them, but some of the guys were cast before it was announced that they were 2, because they showed video last week of the guys watching after the rose from last season when they announced that they were both the Bachelorette. But I don't know what would be better for the show if the producers had 2 sets of men, one for Gabby, one for Rachel, and then maybe halfway through they could do like an NBA trade where I don't really like him, but you seem to really like him.
Oh,
Do you
I love it.
For somebody that would be entertaining.
Him and 2 people to be named later.
Yeah, or I assume Blake will show up at some point this season.
Naming rights to their first child if that's the one they pick.
Yeah. So the fact that they didn't have and I'm sure they actually did have the rose ceremony figured out before the episode. They just they just pretended they didn't. But I don't like it. That is my stream of conscious, because I feel, and I know you're excited for this, I feel like what is going to happen is they're both going to it's going to get toward the end. They're both going to like the same one, and the shit is going to absolutely hit the fan. And I'm going to sit on the chair in your basement with my dessert and a dog on my lap and start screaming at the television show.
Will you be more or less annoyed than when Danielle was talking about how much she loves magicians?
That was a hard conversation, Bill. That was a hard conversation.
Okay.
No, so I know that they're trying, the show's been on forever. They're trying to juice it up and make it different. There are ways of doing that without going to stereotypes of 2 girls fighting over a boy, like it's a 1980s John Hughes movie.
So hypothetical, what if it were 2 stronger women, stronger personality? So what if it was Gabby and Rebecca, or Gabby and Michelle? Would you be more interested then? And not a relationship. That's the other thing, is they're really hamming up this they're best friends. And though I think they like each other and they get along, I feel like they're camp best friends. They're holding hands a lot, which I'm uncomfortable with hand holding in general, and they're holding hands a lot. Yeah, they're first semester of college best friends, not 4th year of college best friends, where you've been through the trials. You've been through some stuff.
Yeah,
you've thrown up in the bathroom and held each other's hair. You've broken up with several people. One of you has a DUI and you had to drive them around for 6 months. They're not at that level of friendship.
They are not at that level. You are right when they're at the second day of overnight camp.
Yep.
And by the suites, I feel like they're gonna be like Orange is the New Black season 4.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
I'm not blown away by I mean, we're in week 2. We don't really know the guys yet. I'm not blown away with any of the guys yet, so I'm not really even sure there's someone there. And they don't seem to have the same taste.
Yeah.
But I also don't really know what Rachel's taste is because the guys she sent home seemed fine. I guess fine isn't great if you're looking for your great love, but I don't think anybody's actually looking for their great love. I don't know. I'm nervous about where this season is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
But they needed to do something because Clayton's season was so bad.
Well, and they didn't give Clayton's season any, like, they were making fun of him before the season started. Like, they were like, this guy
We're setting this one up for failure from
he's
before
a total himbo, and he's just going to be a total idiot. And yeah. So do you think the guys should be declaring their intentions so early?
No, because you're still learning who each other are.
Yeah.
I feel like, are they going to do like a pin ceremony where they each have 6 pins with their faces on it and they go and they like, I choose you, I choose you, I choose you? Or I would be on board with that. I don't.
Especially if they have a Grey's Anatomy where the girl's like, choose me. I'm telling you, choose. No.
Man. I want it to be like they rip their face mat, like they have to hold up like those paddle games when you're at an eruption and you choose like purple or gold or yes, no, left, right, and they each have to like Gabby says a name and then like he holds up which face he actually wants to be with, and if it doesn't match, then he goes home.
I love it. I love this. Yeah.
I have not given that any thought until just now, but I think that is the greatest show idea ever.
That it definitely adds an element to it. Okay, hear me out.
Okay.
Hear me out, okay?
Okay.
Totally, social scientist speaking here. I think this resembles more real world than the normal Bachelor or Bachelorette.
I agree.
This is what happens with friend groups. And there were people when I was in college that me and another guy liked, and we had to negotiate this. I think they liked both of us, and so they were trying to decide. And so from a just let's try to make this as real world as possible, let's try to apply this to the real world, this happens a lot.
Oh, absolutely.
And so it's very odd to me, and maybe every single situation where this happens, it's just very awkward and no one knows how to operate. But I feel like all of the contestants should be better at dealing with this because we've all been through it at some point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe they haven't because they're all so beautiful.
See, but
not that we're not beautiful. We are both beautiful people.
Yeah, we're 10.
But a lot of times I feel like the people who go on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette are from a social group that has never, we were talking about this with Clayton's season. I don't think Clayton has ever had to work to get a girl to like him. And so I feel like a lot of times the people they bring on this show are in similar boats where they've never really had to work hard to get a girl or get a guy to pay attention to them. And so now they have to navigate this world and they don't know how to navigate it. So they all suck at it.
First off, we're 10s, but
we are 10. No, we're 11s. Thank you.
But we host a Bachelor podcast. I don't know if you've been on social media, but that's a new thing. It's
what is it?
Oh, it's like the running joke, she's a 10, but she likes, so takes him down a notch. We're 10s, but we host a Bachelor podcast. Shh. I'm hip. I'm cool, kids. Second.
Is that a TikTok thing?
Twitter. And I know
I'm not on Twitter anymore.
Yeah, you've taken off from Twitter.
I don't know what's going on with the kids anymore.
Second, I think attractive people hang out with attractive people, and so they've had to have gone through this. I'm just shocked at how poorly everyone is dealing with this.
Maybe they were told they had to react poorly. So that it would make good TV.
Well, it's certainly making I'm engaged. So all right. So Gabby and Nate, they had a great date. I love the rhyming. The internet loves Nate. So I think at this point he's the front runner. I already saw, make Nate the new Bachelor, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of it was because he is a girl dad. What is the draw of a girl dad? I know that Kobe Bryant is credited with starting the term. At some point, he posted a picture of his daughter and said girl dad when I kind of tried to do a quick dive into this term. What is the draw?
I don't know, because I hate that phrase. I am a girl. I have a dad. Mm-hmm. It seems like
all of this checks out.
All of this checks out. I don't think he would ever. He only has daughters. Mm-hmm. I think if we said you're a girl dad, he'd look at us like, well, yeah, you're girls. Like that concept wouldn't make sense to him. And I see how it's used, and it's like dads spending time with their daughters get the label girl dad. And it goes back to, we have this conversation a lot with this show, like getting credit for doing the absolute minimum and then being like awarded for it. Like you parent girls different than you parent boys. That is a true statement. But also like hanging out with your child and being a dad to your child is the job.
You don't parent them less.
Yeah.
Like if you're a dad, you don't parent your girls less is what you're saying. You parent them different, but
you parent them different, but you don't parent them less. And I don't know if it's because like if a dad is doing his daughter's hair, then he's like #girl dad, which I'm trying to think. I would probably laugh out. He doesn't do his own hair, let alone anybody else's, but like, that's just like, I just think our generation, we just parent different than our parents parented. But I don't know that we need to label everything as like, because do they call, and they might do this and I don't pay attention. Are there like boy mom memes and stuff? Yeah.
I've seen the hashtag. Yeah. It's like a mom, like, playing in the dirt with their kids. Like, boy mom.
I mean, everything is a hashtag now, and that's fine. I don't think like if we don't know anything about her mom. So if he is a single dad raising her 100%, that's amazing. That's awesome. Way to go, Nate. That makes me love you even more. I like Nate. I hope he goes all the way to the end. I hope he is not the thing that causes them to turn on each other, because I really like him. I love that he's an engineer and has like chest tattoos. I love that about him.
And he hasn't mentioned he's an engineer.
Not once. And normally they always let you know when they're engineers. But if he and his daughter's mom are like 50-50 custody, and they have like a great relationship, that's awesome too. I hate all the labeling that we give each other as parents now. That it doesn't need a label. You're a dad. You're a good dad. Maybe I wish it was like #good dad, not #girl dad.
So what about becoming a bonus parent? And to Gabby's credit, so once again, I think Gabby has way more layers than anyone expected, but she was really thoughtful about it. Yep. And, I don't know if I'm ready to be a parent. I don't know. That's something we talk about when one of the courses I teach is about dating and relationships. And, it's like people think about, oh, you date, you fall in love, and then you have kids. No one ever thinks about this. Like lots of marriages are, you have kids, or maybe you don't have kids. You come in, you take on somebody's kids. They're not a cute little baby. They are a 6-year-old, or they are a
13
hormonal teen that like really is committed to not liking you as a person. And so, I thought that's kind of an interesting concept.
I love that she's really thinking about it, because being a bonus parent is really hard. There are so many factors out of your control when you're the bonus parent, and you just kind of have to go along with a lot of things that maybe you think are weird or don't make sense or wouldn't be the way that you would do it, but you're not the one in the lead of the control when it comes to when there are stepkids involved. And so, speaking from experience, it is not something you enter into lightly, and it is not something that is easy.
Right. And both of my sisters are in that situation, and they have different ways of working with it. And I think it works for both of them. But I think that's the other thing, is that there's no real great model. There's lots of research on co-parenting, but basically what the research says is you got to figure out what works for you all. And communication is really the only prescription, right? Is that 100%. You sit down, you talk through, and you try to come with your defenses down with the other parent and say, we're both in this to help this kid out. What can we do to make their life easy, to make them develop well? So.
And I was very lucky in my situation. The adults all got along, and it was good. But I have people in my world that have the bio parent that it is not a strong, healthy situation, and it makes things really hard. So not knowing anything about the mom of of Nate's child, I think that's not a decision she should make until after they've had time to sit down together and talk to.
What's interesting is, like, how many relationships do you not meet the bio parent until you are so far down that you've really made that commitment? And it's like, it's probably a majority, right? That you are like, I'm probably going to marry this person, and then you meet the bio parent.
Oh, I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. I think you meet. I think
the child you definitely meet earlier, but maybe you would know more than me, so I'm interested.
Yeah, in the relationships that in my world, the bio parents are usually, sometimes they're even introduced before the kid is introduced.
Oh, interesting.
In my case, I knew the bio parent before we were dating, so but in other cases, because of like how custody is set up, you're probably meeting the bio parent either before you meet the kid or not long after you meet the kid. Because
I didn't even think about that.
Most custody now is 50-50.
Right.
So you're doing, drop-offs and pickups every few days. So you're usually seeing the other parent more often. Unless it's a really bad divorce and the other parent doesn't live in the same community.
Right. Which happens sometimes. Which
does happen. Yep. Yeah. In the movies, it seems to happen all the time that they don't meet.
Right.
But the movies are not always real life, unless it's Pride and Prejudice.
Parent Trap. So you're telling me it's not always Parent Trap style?
God, I love that movie.
Which
Both
one?
Versions.
Okay.
2 thumbs up.
I've never seen the newer version, but I have seen the old version hundreds of times.
So good.
Yeah.
Brian.
I didn't think we were going to talk about Parent Trap today, so.
I know. See, you never know when we step up to the mic what we're going to talk about.
This is making my life great. All right. Host 2, wild card topic. What do you got for us, Kimbo Hanimal?
Okay. So I wanted to do something regarding the talent show.
Okay.
And I Googled the history of Speedos and an article on mental floss, and we can link it if you want. An article from Mental Floss.
Highly respected,
researched, journalistic,
peer-reviewed, double-blind mental floss.
I'm sure it was like someone's dissertation. But the title is called Budgie Smugglers, A Scandalous History of Speedos. So apparently in Australia, and I will not attempt to do the accent because I won't do it right, and I don't want to insult any of our Australian listeners, but they call Speedos Budgie Smugglers in Australia. And we're not going to take very much time because we're already coming up on, we've had a very long discussion already. But in 1961 on Bondi Beach, a very famous beach near Sydney, Australia. Even I've heard of Bondi Beach. Thank you. A show on Netflix that I watched during lockdown where a group of people like who owned boutique hotels went and visited each other's hotels and then judged them on it. It was a great show. I can't remember what it's called, but
I'm trying to think of the name of it. I've seen it.
It was so good. But one of the hotels was near Bondi Beach, so I know what that is. But so in 1961, some gentlemen went to the beach in Speedos in what we think of as a Speedo, and they got arrested for indecent exposure. And I'm not sure what we can say, but on our podcast, I know we can swear, but they were not tried because the judge said they weren't guilty of public nudity because there was no hair showing. If hair had been showing, it would have been indecent exposure and public nudity. But the publicity made the Speedo become huge, and everyone started wearing Speedos after this 1961 situation. And so that is my very short education on why Speedos became so popular. And now they are, you see all of our Olympic swimmers wear them. Speedo has come out with different designs to make our swimmers more aerodynamic. And I know the Michael Phelps was wearing those pants and stuff, and girls' Speedos are still up our butts and tight around our boobs and don't fit and don't feel very good, but they, I guess, make us more aerodynamic. But so if you see someone walking down the beach the next time you're on vacation and they're in a Speedo, you can thank those gentlemen in Sydney, Australia in 1961 for getting arrested, sparking the Speedo revolution.
Wow.
Cheers, Budgie Smugglers.
Cheers. I think I found a pronunciation in Australian.
Okay.
Budgie Smugglers in discussing his film Revolver.
Budgie Smugglers.
That was not. Oh man, I can't find it.
But I'm gonna start calling something. I like the phrase Budgie Smuggler.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just gonna start inserting it into everyday conversation.
I was very unfamiliar with that term, so.
Yeah, Budgie Smuggler. Nope, that's not.
Budgie Smuggler.
It was like. It's like part Indian, part Scottish. Not at all Australian.
All right. So, who went home and lessons learned. So we'll do who went home first, then we can do lessons learned.
Okay.
So Matt L., physical therapist, Justin B., English teacher, John A., bartender, Brandon H., sales director, Colin F., investment director, and Ryan M., Boston dude. I couldn't find his job. So lessons learned.
So I'm trying to find out who it was because one of the guys that went home reminded me the first time I saw him last week. I don't know if you're a Friends fan out there listening. Fisher Stevens was on Friends, I think either season 1 or season 2, and he was the psychiatrist that psychoanalyzed everybody so they didn't like him.
Yep.
And one of the guys that went home looks just like him. So every time they would show him on the screen, I was like, oh, it's the Fisher Stevens guy from Friends. So my lesson is I know too much about Friends. And I need to still figure out who everybody is because I don't remember who any of those guys are except the Ryan guy from Boston, only because he was such a guy from Boston.
He was, yeah.
He was such a guy from Boston.
I'm going, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them, because I think the guys are flying they're putting their flag down way too early.
Yep.
And they could, just kind of
ease into it.
Figure out who they like. Same thing with the women. So.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. So
you want to like stick around long enough that you get to go to all the cool places now that they're traveling again.
Right.
So you don't want to make a decision too early because that could get you ousted before you get to go to like Paris or South Africa or something.
At 5'7" and way more than I should weigh, per my doctor at my last physical.
Whatever.
He pointed it out. I'm under no illusion that I could end up with somebody on this show. However, I am very confident I could make it to almost all of the fun stuff just by being very affable and like pretending I care what people say.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that should be everyone's goal, is to drink as much as they can, eat as much as they can, and make it to all the locations.
Yeah.
Happen to fall in love, great.
Free vacations.
Yep.
So many free vacations.
All right. Are you ready for our shout out?
Yes, I'm excited.
The city shout out this week is Amityville, New York. Now, you may think to yourself, is that the Amityville? Settle down. I'm going to give you some background first. According to the United States Census Bureau, the village has a total of 2 square miles in New York, of which 2.1 square miles is land and 0.4 square miles is water, comprising a total of 15.38% water. They have about 9,523 people in 2010, about 3,107 households with 2.61 people per house. Let's see, what else do we need to know?
Is it on Long Island?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Let's see, what else about the demographics? About 81% is white, 9.7% African American, 0.3 Native American.
How many haunted houses are there?
Well, there is one haunted house, the most famous haunted house in America. This is actually where the Amityville horror was based. If you don't know, it is allegedly a true story. So the original book was written by an encounter of a family that bought the house. It has been researched by paranormal experts, and they have never been able to explain a lot of the occurrences, but they also think that the family did lie about some of the stuff that happened there. So.
Was it the ghost people that do the ghost movies?
Yes, not in
Lorraine and
yes,
Frank. I don't know what his name is.
Yep.
Okay.
They did go there. Jay Anson was the person who wrote the book originally.
Now, have you seen both the Brolin version and the Reynolds version? No.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
There's like 7 different ones though, because there's one called Amityville Dollhouse, and the people move into the Amityville house, but then there's a dollhouse.
Nope. I feel the same thing about dollhouses as I do as magicians. No, thank you.
You won't date them or live in them.
I won't date a dollhouse.
Or live with one.
Well, if it was a Barbie dream house, I would be okay with it.
How creepy though would it be if you moved into a house and the exact replica of the house was in the attic? Like, I feel like that's like when you do your final walkthrough, you're like, no, that needs to leave immediately.
Hard pass.
I'm gonna need an old priest and a young priest. We're gonna take care of this right now.
Do we have any listener? I don't even know if Amity is real, but Amity is the town in Jaws. Do we have any listeners from Amity?
I have never made it that far. We have listeners from 1,068, 1,070 towns now. Yeah, so
you guys, thank you.
I have never managed to go through all of them. Basically, what I do is I run the scroller up and down as fast as I can, and then I just randomly pick one.
I'm going to try to find one that's really hard to pronounce for next week.
That's what happened last week, and I made Danielle do it with her extensive background in French.
Ooh.
So
maybe I'll find, if anybody from Wales listens, I'll try to find a Welsh town.
Oh, can you do it in a Welsh accent?
If I work on it, I can. Welsh accent is hard. But
All right.
very cool.
Well,
Well,
we
Bill,
covered everything today.
it's been a delight.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We're not at work, in case anyone from work is listening. This is after hours. So
This is after hours. We are safely ensconced into our own homes.
good use of ensconce.
I'm going to go water walking at the falls in about an hour and a half. Super excited about it.
All right.
After a glass or two of red wine, which is what you want to do, is walk in water after a glass of wine.
I love it. All right, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
You have been listening to Bachelorette
with your hosts, Danielle Dick McGee.
Kim Hanna.
And Bill Hennig.
All thoughts and opinions expressed on the show are solely those of the person who spoke them.
If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe to the show, leaving a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen to your podcast.
Also, please share with your family, friends, colleagues, and other ardent Bachelor fans.
If you have comments or questions you would like us to address on the show, you can email us at bachademia@gmail.com.
Or on the Twitter with the handle @Bachelorette.
Thanks for listening.